Before we get started, I just wanted to share a quick and exciting update about our partnership with KMV Travel, which is becoming even more listener-focused. You can now get rewarded for traveling to a Disney destination when you book with KMV Travel. There are two options that are available depending on what type of Patreon subscription you currently have. And if you're saying to yourself, I'm not a Patreon subscriber, or I'm just a free member on Patreon, that's okay, because if you book with KMV Travel this year, 2025, I'm going to offer you 3 months complimentary deluxe level membership to Imagination Skyway, so you could try it for yourself, get access to all that bonus content, and this is a $35 value. If you are already a paying subscriber on Patreon and you book in 2025 to a Disney destination, KMB Travel is going to offer you a $25 Disney gift card for your trip. And as a bonus, this ends December 31st, 2025. If you are a paying subscriber with an annual plan, or if you have been a subscriber with a monthly plan for at least 12 consecutive months, when you book with KMV Travel, I am also going to give you a bonus $25 Disney gift card for booking with KMV. Lots of exciting updates. You could get all the details and the disclaimers over at patreon.com/Imagination Skyway. I have that announcement pinned to the top of that page so you can learn more. And now let's get on to the show. Welcome aboard Imagination Skyway, your grand podcast tour of the magic. I'm your host, Matthew Kroll, and in today's episode, I chat with my wife, Joanna, about her experience aboard the Disney Wish. Last month, she and our daughters, Maggie and Emily, enjoyed a 4-night generational girls trip with Joanna's mom and aunt. It was Joanna and Maggie's second time sailing aboard Disney Cruise Line, everybody else's first, and the entire group's first time setting foot on the Disney Wish. In this episode, I ask Joanna everything you might want to know about the experience and discuss her overall thoughts about the voyage. At the end of the show, we'll return to Imagination Central, where I'll share ways in which you can stay connected with Imagination Skyway, how you can discuss this topic with others, and how you can help to support and inspire the future of this show. Please remain seated, keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times, and enjoy your grand circle tour aboard Imagination Skyway. In the past, we have discussed Disney Cruise Line from a very objective perspective, talking about how to plan for the trip, what's included, even the Imagineering of Disney Cruise Line. But I have yet to talk about it on the show with someone very close to me who has now taken not one, but 2 cruises. And that, of course, is Joanna. Welcome back to the show, Joanna.
Thank you so much.
This is the second time this year.
Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yeah, second time. I mean, the first time we talked about our personal family memories, and that got a lot of positive reception. Not surprisingly, anytime you're on the show, it always gets a lot of positive reception.
Aww.
So, welcome back to land. I mean, you've been on land now for
couple of weeks.
Yeah. Do you have your land legs back?
Yes, I do. I didn't get them back right away. I was surprised because, it wasn't that long of a sailing, but it was long enough to, need to get my land legs back.
Even Maggie, running through the hallways of Beach Club, stumbled on herself twice, which we attributed to her getting back to being on land. We're like, why'd you fall? Why are you tripping over yourself?
Yeah, she was just twice. Tripping over herself, just walking down the hallway.
It's funny. I mean, obviously she's not hurt, so that's the most important thing. But it was funny to watch her get used to being back on land, sort of the imbalance of being on the ship for so long.
It wasn't even that, you don't even realize it until you're back on land. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is how we walk.
Yeah. And it took her, I think, half a day, and then she was totally fine. She didn't stumble at all after that. obviously, we have a lot to talk about, and it's all related to the cruise itself, but I cannot pass up an opportunity to talk about, actually, we'll save that for a little bit. We're going to talk about something else related to the ship.
On edge here. I don't know what you're
I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Well, let's start with this. So this is not your first Disney cruise. You took Maggie on the Disney Fantasy in August of 2023. She was a little more than a year and a half. This time, which we'll talk about, it was not one, but two daughters, one being 3 years old, the other being about 7 months old, or almost 7 months old. Thinking back to the Disney Fantasy, what sold you on Disney Cruise Line? That was your first cruise ever, and you've gotten the bug. You were hooked from the very beginning. What sold you on Disney Cruise Line at that point?
Jen. Jedi Master Jen. Now she has a new name. It's Jedi Dr. Jen now in my
Dr.
phone.
Jedi Master Jen.
No. I just
Jedi
changed,
Dr. Jen?
I just changed her name to Jedi Dr. Jen.
I'm going to update her contact info on my phone, too.
Since her doctorate, yes. Jen wanted to do a cruise for celebrating her doctorate. Or what would have been celebrating her doctorate. At the time, it ended up being just a inaugural cruise to initiate the start of her doctorate. And she invited me and Maggie to go with her. And I said to myself, when am I ever going to be able to do this again? Because I know my husband will never do a cruise and it will just be me. And so when Jen said, I'm doing a cruise, do you want to come? I immediately said yes. And I think she thought I was kind of joking. But I really wasn't. I was so excited to do it. And I knew that I would love it because I love the sea. I love the windy sea breeze and all of that. And I'm not a fan of the beach, but we get over that. And then doing it as a Disney cruise, obviously I knew it was going to be the best, the absolute best. Possible. I didn't know at the time, but the Disney cruise ships are, I don't know, I guess you'd call it like the first class of cruises. So, if you fly first class, you have a different flight than somebody who flies in economy or steerage, as I like to call. No, I'm kidding. So the Disney ships are incredible, and I didn't know it at the time, but it was the best decision ever, doing that fantasy cruise. And if I do a cruise again, which I ended up doing just this past month, it's always going to be Disney. I don't think I'm ever going to do a different ship. I really don't. Or a different cruise line. I've had opportunities to possibly do a different cruise line with other family members, but no, I don't think so.
Disney's the way to go. After you came back from the Disney Fantasy, you started planning almost immediately for your next cruise, and you picked the Disney Wish pretty early on as the next ship you wanted to sail with. At the time, I know you were planning to sail April of 2024.
I was, yes.
But life had different plans.
Something magical happened, yeah.
Emily wanted you to wait for her to make it onto the Wish is really what happened.
It was funny. Basically immediately after I came back from the Fantasy, I told my mom and my aunt how incredible of a time I had with Maggie with me. Maggie learned so much, as you know, if you've been listening to the show, whenever I'm on here, I'm always talking about how much Maggie learns at Disney and doing Disney things. So she, incredible experience for the two of us when we were on the Fantasy. And I came home, immediately told my mom, told my aunt, and I said, we should do a Disney cruise together. We'll do a ladies' cruise. And to my surprise, both of them were completely on board with me. And then I think that following week, we booked the Wish for the four of us. My aunt and my mom were in one room, and or maybe I think it was just the same room. I think the four of us were just in one room. And or maybe not. I I don't even remember because it doesn't matter, because the following week when we booked it, we booked it, whatever it was, 1 room or 2 rooms, and then a couple months later find out that we are pregnant, and I started doing my calculations, and unfortunately I would have been 25 weeks at the time of sailing. And the rule for Disney, it's the rule for a lot of maritime ships. The rule for Disney is if you are past your 24th, in your 24th week or past your 24th week, it is not advised for you to go sailing. It's really, I don't know if they would say it's completely against the rules to go sailing, but it's certainly not something that I want to start breaking rules with, you know. So, unfortunately, fortunately, I don't know how you would say it, we had to reschedule our cruise. So, I don't remember if we rescheduled it right there or if we just canceled it.
I remember.
You remember?
It was a few days before the scheduled C-section, because you actually made a reservation for Emily, and you said, I know what her birth date's going to be, but you can't put it in the system yet because it's not... It's like you can't put a future date as a birth date. We just in this weird situation where we knew what her date was going to be.
I did, yeah. So yeah. I remember booking it, and I put a fake birthday that was in the past, and then I called Disney Cruise Line and I told them the actual birthday.
I think that was the first phone call you made before family was Disney Cruise Line to tell them about her Emily being born.
I had to tell them about Emily being born on the 30th, and
then we called the parents and everything else. Disney Cruise Line was first. Let's get her officially on the boat.
Disney Cruise Line was the first outside of me and Matthew to know her name.
That's true. And I booked Disney Vacation Club, and I put her name on the Disney Vacation Club reservation, and I distinctly remember making sure I did not put your mom or your aunt's email addresses on the reservation or tagging them in My Disney Experience, because I did not want them to see her name yet. We were not sharing her name until she was born.
Right.
So Disney knew her name after we did, before any family members knew.
Disney knew her name, yeah.
That's how Disney is family. That's how close. That's how close Disney is. You mentioned your mom and aunts.
Yes.
And there's a piece of this we should dive into. Your mom is not a Disney person.
Oh, my mom, yes.
Your aunt has not been to Disney since, I think...
the 2000s.
Yeah, early 2000s. It's been over 20 years. Mm-hmm. And neither of them has taken a cruise before.
Right.
So we had two hurdles to cross here.
Yes.
Not taking a cruise, so not just getting, not jumping from another cruise line to, hey, we should try Disney Cruise Line, but getting them on a cruise in the first place. And then the second hurdle is, your mom, it's not like she hates Disney or anything, but she certainly, it's not the number one list on her list of destinations to go to. And so it's, hey, Mom, we're going to go on a cruise, and we're going to go on a Disney cruise. We're not looking at Carnival or Norwegian.
Not even close. No.
Yeah, nothing along those lines.
It was Disney or nothing.
Yeah. So how did you? Well, I think it was mostly a threat that if you want to do it, you're going to have to do Disney. But
it started that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
It started that way. I said we're going to do a ladies cruise, and my mom was really excited about that because she does like to travel. She likes to go to new places, and yes, this was a Disney cruise, but the idea is, like, she has never done a cruise before, so if she was going to do a cruise, this would have been a great opportunity for her to do it. And it's Disney, sure, so it's more expensive in her mind, right? I mean, like, she's like, I don't know, 'cause it's Disney, it's a little expensive, do we really need to do a Disney cruise? And obviously, yes, you do need to do a Disney cruise. And if you're going to go with me, then you're going to go Disney. That's kind of how it went. But she quickly realized that, and then was completely 100% on board, and actually getting really excited about it leading up to going onto the ship, going onto the Wish.
Your aunt was, on the other hand,
sold immediately.
Very excited.
Sold immediately. She was like, oh, I get to travel with my best friend and her daughter and the girls. Yes, yes, I get to be away from work for a week. Yes. She was on board 100% from the beginning.
And she was in the Facebook groups with you. She saw a lot of the same posts
Yes,
that you saw.
She did. She was really excited. She got into the cruise Facebook groups, and she started asking questions in the Facebook groups. And I would comment on her posts, and she's like, "Oh, I could have just asked you."
Now we could have them on the show, but I'm gonna have you speak on their behalf because I know we've spoken with them, and you spoke with them even more extensively than I did after coming back. But we'll save that for the end. Let's talk about the planning process. You had to make several decisions. I know it was also complicated because you have sailed before and they haven't.
Right.
So that sort of messed with the timelines a bit if you wanted to do things together, which of course you did. What do you remember about the planning process once Emily was here, once you had the date selected for which wish sailing you were going to do, and had all the party members ready to go? What went into the planning process?
So because I guess I've sailed before with Maggie, both of us are Silver Castaway Club members, which means that we get like maybe 36 hours of booking time before the general public, people who've never sailed before, get to book. So what I was able to do in those 36 hours was just maybe book the nursery for times that possibly could work for the family. They really couldn't do anything in that sense without, waiting for my mom and aunt to, get into the window. Well, there was a lot of decision making before that, though, with what we wanted to do excursion-wise, or what we could do excursion-wise, plus maybe other things that we wanted to do on the ship, like a prima notte or prima nota, or any other of the fancy restaurants. I wanted to make sure we could try to book anything that we wanted, that we could, And I basically acted like the travel agent, where I was up at midnight that night before, and I was doing all the booking for everybody, making sure we got it. It was a little bit challenging because the app can sometimes be glitchy with booking like that. And if I would give anybody advice, it'd be to use a computer, because it's just a little bit easier to navigate on the computer than the app. But I wasn't going to whip out my laptop at midnight when I was just in bed. So I ended up booking us Royal Gathering first. Royal Gathering is when you get to meet and greet 5 princesses. I didn't care which day or which time, like that was my priority, was Royal Gathering. And that quickly sold out. We were able to get it, but it definitely quickly sold out. Second priority was Prima Nota at Paolo, which was like a wine tasting with some small plates associated with that, and that was for adults only. So after I booked those two, I think I also did the glass bottom boat excursion, which was the only excursion on Castaway Cay that I felt I would be happy bringing a 7-month-old with me. I had done the glass bottom boat tour already. I actually had the exact same drivers on the boat from 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, which I thought was interesting. So I had those 3 priorities, and in that order is the way that I booked it. I was able to get everything and then go back to sleep. And then I woke up and I got the nursery around Prima Notis because the girls could not come with us to the wine tasting. But everything ended up being great. Trying to think, like, there was some difficulties with nursery bookings later on because people wanted to put their kids in the nursery. But I think overall we ended up having really good luck with that.
Yeah, you ultimately did get pretty lucky with everything. Excuse me. So we're going to talk about land real quick. The difference, or one of the differences from this time compared to last time, is last time on the 7-night Disney Fantasy excursion or cruise that you did, we flew down the day of the cruise. First flight out in the morning, right on the bus, right to the ship.
Yep.
And then the day you came home, I had already left Disney, so I was home by then. But you took the bus from the terminal straight to the airport and then flew home.
Yep.
This time, the original plan, we'll talk about the altered plan that happened last minute. But for all intents and purposes, we went down the day before, and you ended up taking the bus from our resort to the cruise line terminal to Port Canaveral. And then the day you got off the ship, came back, original plan, one night, and then fly home the next day. We ended up extending another 3 nights just to be there a little bit longer. But how did you feel about that process? Was it worth the extra, we'll call it the original plan, the extra 2 days, the night before and the night after? Or would you alter that at all in the future?
It was so much nicer to not have to worry about stressing with catching the ship and the plane being delayed, or the ship and me getting off the ship and then going through customs is taking too long and I'm not going to make it to the airport in time. Like that was pretty stressful on both ends of that 7-night cruise, a year and a half ago. But with the 2 girls, even more so, it would have been stressful if we didn't bookend the cruise with Disney stays. Can it be done? Yes, definitely can be done. A lot of people do it. The bus from the airport and the terminal to the airport is running basically continuously. So you're really going to be okay if you do that. But I think having that bookend stay was just more relaxing. You're like, okay, I'm here and I can enjoy my day. And then tomorrow I'm going to go to the ship. And we were one of the first families on the ship. We weren't the first, obviously, because we were not boarding group 1, but we were boarding group 5. So there really were not too many people on the ship when we got on. And we were able to grab some lunch at one of the restaurants. It was just more casual. Whereas when we did the flight the same day that the ship was leaving, we had to rush to the ship, and we almost, not to say that we didn't make it in time, we definitely made it onto the ship, but the ship ended up being really busy by the time that we were on it, so it was hard to get lunch. Everybody was at the buffet. There was no table available. We had our carry-on luggage with us. The room wasn't ready until 1:30. It was it was a bit more stressful until we got onto the ship. Once you're on the ship, every care goes away. It was awesome both times. And I think it was just a little bit better having stayed in Disney the night before.
Yeah, and this was our first time, all of us, our first time staying at Riviera. And we used our DVC points to get a 2-bedroom at Riviera the night before. So you and I slept in the master bedroom with Emily in her crib. Maggie slept on the Murphy bed in the living room, and your mom and aunt had the second bedroom, 2 separate beds, separate bathroom, 2 showers on their end, 1 shower and 1 bathtub on our end.
The 2-bedroom was very nice.
Yeah.
It was luxurious. And you know what? I think it really sold my mom in particular. My aunt was 100% on board the whole time. But my mom was like, I don't know if I really want to do Disney. And I'm like, last time you were at Disney, you weren't staying here. You know what I mean? So I think she got a really glamorous taste of what Disney has to offer.
She got a taste of the DVC life
She
that
did.
we live.
She did, yeah, and that was fun for her. She had a great time.
Yeah, I know she enjoyed herself. Your aunt absolutely enjoyed herself, and I love Riviera, despite the Skyliner and my motion sickness tendencies with the Skyliner.
I don't even think you would say it, but I think Riviera might be your new favorite.
I have to go back and try. It still has that honeymoon effect for me. I just stayed there, and I will say
you're in the honeymoon phase.
I'm in the honeymoon phase, but I will say going from Riviera to Beach Club felt like a significant downgrade, which is not something I would ever say.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really true.
No, but
I sense that, it's the newness of Riviera, that honeymoon period. Mm-hmm. Everything is just...
The resort is only 6 years old.
Fresh. It's just fresh.
Or not even 5 years old. It also fits just, I like that, I guess, aesthetic of it. The clean, sleek design. It's just the transportation. For me, is the only downside. There's no place I could walk to other than Caribbean Beach. So I really, other than that, it might be a new favorite. It's also a different process with the bus. So do you want to talk about the difference between taking the bus from the airport versus taking the bus from the resort?
Yeah, I could talk about that a little bit. I mean,
I was there too, so I'm aware of it, but you got to experience it firsthand.
Taking the bus from the airport, they find you at baggage claim. They're like, who's here for Disney Cruise Line? Who's here for Disney? And then you just get on the bus, and the bus takes you right over to the Port Canaveral or whatever port you're going to, but Port Canaveral in this case. And like I said, that bus kind of runs continuously. Like, they know your flight information because you do that at check-in. You tell them all the information about your flight, so they know how many people they're picking up at a certain time. They send the bus. This time, because we were staying on property, we still did Disney transportation, which is not necessary to do. There's lots of different transportation methods that we could have used, but we did still use the Disney transfer bus. But there was just one bus picking us up at Riviera, and there was about 8 families from Riviera going to the ship. And that surprised me in a way, because I'm not sure if I guess that maybe they were all staying at Riviera, or maybe they were staying at a neighboring resort and the bus was only picking up at Riviera, because I believe they just picked us up at Riviera. Like, that we were the only group of people on the bus, just us from Riviera going to the ship. And they picked us up around 9:45, I think, and 9:45 in the morning we left. So you had to be in the waiting area, which was one of the lounges at Riviera. We had to be there about 9:15, just to make sure we checked in with their Disney rep to get us onto the bus, got all of our luggage onto the bus, and then we didn't see our luggage again until it was by our room.
Also, the pickup process for the luggage was different than the airport. Your checked bags.
The checked bags were picked up out of our hotel room at like 7 in the morning.
Yeah. They just came. We left or not me.
Yeah, I left the bag that they were going to take with the little tag on it right by the door.
Inside our room. Inside
the room, not in the hallway, just inside the room. And it could be Bell Services, I believe. They, I guess, did a light tap knock on the door, didn't even hear them. They opened the door, grabbed the bags, and left. So by the time I woke up, like, I don't know, maybe 8-ish, bags were gone. And the next time we would see them would be on the cruise ship, which was really interesting, that we didn't have to lug our checked bags, onto the bus. It was very cool.
Yeah, it also meant that anything you needed for the day, you had to put in your carry-on bag. So
yeah, it made my carry-on bag a little bit heavier because it was a longer day. But it was great. It was great to not have to worry about it.
Yeah. And then obviously reverse side of it, they brought the bags from your room. You leave them outside your stateroom, is that correct? On the departure day?
Oh, it's for departure. So for the night before we leave, by 10 o'clock, the checked bags have to be out of your room with a little tag on them. They take those bags off the ship first so that they can kind of go through the customs and make sure there's nothing bad in there. And then when you get off the ship, your bag is waiting, having already been through the customs check. And you grab it on your way out, and then you go through customs as a person. Very easy, usually. The line is not that long. I know that when we were coming off the Fantasy, it got a little bit long because we tried to stay on the ship as long as possible. As long as possible, meaning like, because we had like the last flight out that day, so we could stay on the ship a little bit longer. Everything was fine. And it didn't matter because the buses to the airport run continuously. But, and this was the part that stressed me out a little bit, because I didn't know about it before I got onto the ship. There's only one bus that goes to Disney World, and it leaves at 9 a.m. So, and I'm saying there's one bus. There's multiple buses, but they all leave at the same time, and they go to different resorts. So the one bus that we would get on left at 9 o'clock to go to Beach Club. We had to kind of skip breakfast. We got like buffet breakfast really quickly. We couldn't do the sit-down breakfast for the last meal. That's okay, though. Got all of our stuff, and we got right off the ship. The bags were ready. Customs was a breeze. We got right onto the bus, and we had, like, maybe 45 minutes just waiting for everybody else to get onto that bus. And it left at bang on 9 o'clock. We were backing up.
Right on time. Speaking of bags, you have two kids, and we have two kids, but you had, obviously, but my point is that you went on the ship with two kids.
I did, yeah.
And I get this question a lot, and I feel like it's different for Disney parks than for Disney cruise. So what were your must-haves for packing, or anything you would offer for advice for those traveling with little ones? The obvious things like diapers and pull-ups and wipes and all those things, but besides the obvious, anything you would or wouldn't, like you did not bring a stroller, for instance.
Right. I didn't bring a stroller because I was basically traveling by myself for a lot of it. I mean, my mom and aunt were with me, but they were carrying their own things, and they're not young like I am, right? I can carry lots of things, but yeah, I don't want to burden them with carrying my things. I had two carry-on bags. Well, one of them was the diaper bag backpack that had all the essentials with the medicines that I could possibly need for the girls. The diapers, the autograph book, which is a necessity for Maggie. Yeah. She loves her autograph book. I had all the essentials in the diaper bag, and then I had my carry-on bag, which was just like a beach bag. It was about that size. That had change of clothes, bathing suit, and because we wouldn't be able to, get our luggage if we wanted to do the pool or something, or splash pad, because the girls can't. Maggie can go in the pool, but Emily can't. So the splash pad, for example, I had all those essentials there. I did not bring a stroller because I was carrying too much already. I baby wore Emily for the first day, the whole travel day. It was just me baby wearing her, which was rough because it was a long day of traveling between being at Disney World, being on the bus, to go to the ship, being around the ship, walking onto the ship. It's all transportation. It's like an airport, and then being on the ship and not having our room ready right away. It was a lot to baby wear her that day. In hindsight, do I wish I brought a stroller? No. However, guest relations on the ship, apparently, and I didn't know this until day 2, that there's a possibility of you kind of renting a stroller from them, where they don't have to charge your card right away, but you sign the forms and say, like, I will be charging your card if you don't return the stroller. But they were able to give me a stroller on day 2, and that was a lifesaver. So having a stroller in general is so important if you have, a non-walker, right? If you have a walker, like Maggie is my walker, and even when she was 19 months when I brought her the first time, she was a walker, and I had a little stroller, but I didn't use it at all. So I said to myself, okay, I'm not going to bring a stroller. But now with 2 and a non-walker, a stroller was basically a necessity. I'm glad that I didn't bring my own because it would have been way too much to carry. But I'm so happy that Guest Relations had one that I could borrow. And I could take it off the ship. I brought it to the different islands with us. So that was really wonderful to have that. So I would say a stroller is a necessity, and it surprised me that I needed it. And you can't do a double stroller. You just can't navigate the ship with a double stroller. Between the elevators and the hallways, even the single stroller that I borrowed didn't fit through the door of my stateroom. So I had to always fold it before bringing it into the stateroom. And then I left it folded when we were in there. But it doesn't, even the single stroller is not necessarily going to fit, so a double stroller is impossible. Don't do a double stroller. I'm trying to think if there's any other, like, necessities that I felt like were so needed, and I would almost say no. I know there's a lot of people that say, like, bring your magnetic hooks because there's no storage and you can hang up things with the magnets. And I said, I don't really need that. And I didn't really need that. We had plenty of space on the shelving and in the drawers. The dirty laundry just went right back into the suitcase under the bed. It was everything that I had was basically my essentials for just traveling in general. Nothing special for the ship. The only thing I would say is that stroller was so needed, and I'm so grateful that I was able to get one from Guest Relations.
I am too. You mentioned the stateroom, but we haven't talked about the stateroom and the setup for the 6 of you. So
Wait, it's not 6, it was 5.
5 of you, you're right, the 5 of you. I'm miscounting. With me, it was 6.
Yeah,
for the 5 of you.
You don't count on the ship.
I was not on the ship.
You were not on the ship.
So for the 5 of you, how was that? What did you select for a stateroom setup, and what was that like?
So I think when we originally booked the cruise, before I was pregnant, we only had one room, and it was going to be my mom and aunt sharing a bed, me on the pull-out, and then Maggie would be maybe on another pull-out or possibly in like a crib, even though she'd be 3 years old. I didn't think about that. Actually, at the time, I think she only would have been, she would have just turned 3. It was fine. Maybe 2, 3, 2.5.
She would have been 2
2 and a half.
Yeah, 2.5. Yeah.
2.5.
Almost
okay.
2.5.
Okay. She would have been 2.5, so she would have been fine in the crib. I think we were all going to share one room, but this time, now that there was 5 of us, it was going to be 2 rooms, which means mine and Matt's bank account got hit a little bit harder than expected because I was paying full price for one room, and my mom and aunt were splitting their room. We did adjoining rooms.
Even though you were 1 adult, 1 child, 1 infant, 3 total people, but 1 adult, 1 child, 1 infant is more expensive than 2 adults.
Yes.
Because you paid a little bit more.
Well, yes. Well, the reason behind that is they
charge for the infant.
Yes. They charge for the infant, of course. They charge for the infant no matter what. The reason really that I paid more was because I am paying for the stateroom, which at minimum is 2 people, 2 adults. So you have to pay whatever it is. And I think it was around $1,800 per person, because we got a balcony on like a high floor too, and it was nice. They love the room, by the way. It was like $1,800 per person. And those 2 people represent adults. Even though Maggie is not considered an adult, I'm still paying for her like an adult in that stateroom. Because at the minimum in the stateroom, you have to pay the price of 2 adults staying there. Even if it's just 1 person in the room, you still have to pay the full price of 2. Because that's how Disney wants to sell their rooms. Which is, I don't know if every single cruise line does something like that. I don't even care if every cruise line does something like that, because I'm very happy going with Disney, right? I'm not going to do another one. I'm really not. Even for the price difference, it's not worth it. It's not worth going to a different cruise line and being disappointed in any way, because the way that I love Disney is, too much, I guess.
The family friendliness of it too has a big impact. It's not just the Disney theme, but it's also the family nature.
I know that there are a lot of family friendly ships. There's a lot. There must be. I mean, obviously, you're not going to have only adults cruising, right? But Disney just does it better. I am so happy with everything that happened on the ship. I'm so happy with the service. I'm so happy with the cleanliness, with the opportunities to do things with the girls and with the rest of my family, my mom and aunt. It was just excellent. Having the adjoining rooms gave us a lot more space. It felt like we were sharing a room with still the privacy of the door. We had our stateroom attendant open up the balcony. So it was like we had a double balcony, which was so cool. The girls, I'm saying the girls, my mom and aunt, they loved that. It was such a beautiful, just vista every single day and night looking out at there. And, it really felt like we were sharing a room, because we basically always kept the door between us open, except at night. And it was a lot of fun.
The itinerary for this one was different than the Disney Fantasy, and you don't need to go through the day-by-day playbook, but any highlights from the things that you did on the ship, or particular, whether that be dining that you enjoyed, activities, or anything else that is a standout from the Wish.
I think I can do a play-by-play on that one, but
if you want, you can.
If you were asking it like specific to the Wish.
Yes.
Okay, so there was almost nothing that I did specifically on the Wish, because prima nota you can do on other ships. It just means the first night. So they have that tasting with the wine pairings on I think all of the ships at one of the restaurants. So that wasn't unique to the Wish, but that was top. That sold it for my mom and aunt. As soon as, they were really happy with everything at that point. But once we did prima nota, they were like, this is it. This is what we're going to be doing now. We're not going to do any other cruise line. We're just going to come back to Disney. We're always going to do this with you. Let's book another one, which we did. So that was so cool. But I don't think that that's unique to the Wish. There was one piece that was unique to the Wish that I saw. They have the different themings for things. We had the Star Wars Hyperspace Lounge, which was on the Wish and only on the Wish. And that was pretty cool. I have lots of videos from there. I have lots of videos of like the unique drinks that they do. The going through space, and you're moving, which is fun because you're on a ship and it looks like you're in outer space moving when you're in there. The shows were incredible. We missed one of the shows. We missed the first night's show, which was unique to the Wish. Unfortunately, I missed that one for prima nota, but I think it was worth it. The two shows that we saw, Aladdin and Little Mermaid, were awesome. There was this spectacle in the grand hall of like making a wish, and all these lights would go around, and it was really beautiful. But I don't know if it was something that I would say, oh, you have to go on the wish for, But there was a beautiful chandelier, and just everything was Disney. I loved it so much. It didn't matter that it was not even unique to the wish. It was just the idea that we're here and we're having a great time, and it's beautiful and it's Disney.
So then, other than the things that are unique to the wish, anything that you did that was relatively the same to the fantasy that you really enjoyed?
I think just being on the ship and walking around and just enjoying the pieces and the beauty of what it is. And I know that when I was on the fantasy with my 18, 19-month-old Maggie, we did a lot of walking up and down the staircases. And I remember seeing all the beautiful artwork all over the fantasy. And I know that the Wish has even more pieces of art. It's just like a walking museum, or like a sailing museum. I don't know how you would say it. Like, it's a museum at sea. It was really beautiful looking around at that. Unfortunately, it did feel like I couldn't get it all in the amount of time that I was on the ship. I wish that we had more time on the ship. And I feel like that's true no matter how long your sailing is, right? The Wish is a larger ship than the Fantasy. It didn't feel larger. It felt more like, to me personally, it felt a little bit like a maze. I was so confused by the way that we were walking around in different hallways, and then all of a sudden we'd end up somewhere. But it was still kind of fun to experience that. The kids club on the Wish, so cool. Maggie had a great time. The nursery on both ships, incredible. Incredible staff in the nursery. Just attentiveness and caring people that work there. I don't even know. Did I answer the question?
You did.
Okay, great. Because I'm so in love with what these ships are. Both of them, really. And I want to keep doing them. I want to keep spending all of Matthew's money.
It's our shared money. We both work very hard.
Well, I'm saying it's your money because you're not there with me. It's like, oh yeah, sure, we'll put it on Matthew's credit card.
Again, our credit
Mickey.
card
Put it on
comes
Mickey.
out of the same bank account, and it all goes to help on with Matthew on future vacations. It's things that we can, we get that cash back for.
We get that Disney cash back.
Disney dining and other things.
We just keep spending Disney. That's what we do.
It's Disney math. I'm going to pivot slightly, and maybe we'll have just two more questions for this. So we've talked about it a lot from your perspective as a big Disney fan. We go to Disney a lot, but you got reactions from your mom and your aunt, who, again, not Disney people, never cruised before. So what were their impressions or things that they enjoyed the most? Oh,
well, they were sold.
I've never heard your mom rave about anything.
Rave.
She does not rave. She's not someone who she's like, oh yeah, that was good, or like, it was good. It was. She always has like some sort of thing that could have been better.
Yeah,
with some exceptions.
Or some things are just good. Not.
She doesn't get excited.
Right.
She doesn't get excited about things, but she came back and she was excited about her experience, which I was surprised. And then she even texted you when we stayed an extra few days. She texted the words, "I miss Disney," which I think that floored me. I never thought I would ever hear those words from your mom.
No.
Or read those words from your mom.
No.
From your dad, yes.
Yeah, my dad loves Disney.
Your mom, no. So that was good indication of how great a time she had.
She had a fabulous time. I think she loved the cruise.
Yeah.
She really loved being out, going places, sailing.
She was really impressed with the cleanliness, I remember. She told me when we had dinner the night you got back, with the dining. She thought the dining was incredible. and the shows, which she's seen a lot of Broadway shows growing up in New York and going to Broadway a lot. She said that it really was like a Broadway production.
Oh, yeah.
She was very impressed with the shows. And I've heard those things, but it's nice to hear it from, because I always hear it all day from Disney fans.
Right.
It's nice to hear from someone who's not necessarily a Disney fan.
Right. Yeah, I think we may have turned her into a Disney fan.
That's a little extreme.
at least a Disney cruise fan. But even so, like even before the ship, she loved staying at Riviera. She thought Riviera was so beautiful, and just that she's
staying in the villa.
Yes,
it's a very different experience.
It's a different experience. It's not Pop Century anymore. We're not staying at Pop Century, and these are really luxurious experiences that she gets to be with her family, people that she loves, and she had a great time. She really did, and it's so wonderful to know that, because she deserves to have some fun and to really enjoy herself. And I think their favorite, outside of just Prima Nose, they were raving about Prima Nose the whole time we were on the ship. They were like, "This is incredible. We're drinking $100 bottles of wine. We're having all this." I had tuna for the first time. That's my mom. She doesn't eat anything fishy, right? And she had that tuna, and she was like, "It's just delicious." They loved Pirate Night. They were all in for Pirate Night.
I saw from the photos and the videos, they were having a really good time at Pirate Night.
They were having such a great time at Pirate Night. They got their wigs. They got their pirate get-ups. They were dancing. They were singing. They were having such a great time at Pirate Night. And I'm telling you, that had nothing to do with the wine. They did not even... They had one glass of wine each, I think, as like a cheers, like celebration to Pirate Night. And they were just having a great time. And wow, it was amazing for me to see that these two people that are not Disney fans can really enjoy something that I enjoy as a Disney person. And it was great to see that. They had a great I'm looking at Matthew like, unbelievable. They had a great time.
I know. And I am glad that you booked another one with them to experience that again. I'm glad that you sold them on it. You planned it really, really well.
Yes, I did.
I guess the last question here, and we can maybe have a tag question to this too, but it's the hardest one, I think, for you, because we've talked about this before. Overall thoughts about the Wish, especially after you've sailed on the Fantasy. And you don't have to shy away from, I think there's a tendency that every new ship is automatically better, just in the eyes of things are going to keep getting better and better and better. But that's not always true. So there's always pros and cons. So what were your overall thoughts about the Wish, especially compared to having sailed on the Fantasy, from your perspective? It's not objective, it's your opinion.
I've been dreading this question from Matthew.
I should have asked it first, but I saved it for last.
I knew that he was going to ask me this question, but I can't place what it is about the Wish that I don't like as much as the Fantasy. And I'm going to kind of tell the story background here that I'm thinking. When I was fortunate enough to go onto the Fantasy for Jedi Dr. Jen's, pre-doctorate cruise, I didn't know what to expect. I went in almost blind. I saw some YouTube videos of the Fantasy and just sailing on the ships, so I knew what it was, but I did not experience it until I was already there, and I fell in love with the Fantasy. Loved it so much. I got to walk around the ship so much. We were on there for 7 nights, and we had this whole sea day, and I didn't get off the ship twice. There were 2 ports that I stayed on the ship because I just wanted to be on the ship so long. I loved it. I felt like I owned that ship. It felt like home. After that, I found out, obviously the Wish was coming, and the Wish was going to be this new, glamorous, beautiful princess theming and all of this amazing ship. And then they had the Disney Plus making of the Wish. Obviously, I've watched even more YouTube videos, so I knew a lot about the Wish before going on it. And I wouldn't say that I had these like high expectations. I think I had just as equal expectations as I did from fantasy to the Wish. I knew that I was excited for the Wish. I get on the ship and it feels like home again. But there's something different about it, and I just can't place it. I can't place why I didn't like it as much as I liked the fantasy. Part of it maybe has to do with how much time I was able to spend on the Wish compared to the fantasy, because it was a 5-night instead of a 7-night, or 4-night?
It was a 4-night.
It was a 4-night. A 4-night instead of a 7-night, so that was a big difference, that I felt like it was rushed. It did feel like, even though it wasn't the shortest cruise that the Wish does, it still felt rushed. So part of that is probably why I didn't like it as much. I kind of like alluded to the fact that it was kind of maze-like. It didn't feel like I could easily navigate the Wish. I felt like I was always looking at the directions, trying to figure out, okay, where am I? Am I forward? Am I aft? Am I mid? I don't know. It was hard to figure out where I was when I got off the elevator. Do I turn left? Do I turn right? I don't know. So I was always looking at the map. But I think another part of that is it's a bigger ship. So it's a little bit harder to navigate a bigger ship than the fantasy. And there was a lot of hallways. There was just a lot of hallways to things. Even going to Arendelle, which was a really fun restaurant, I'm walking down the hallway and it says Arendelle. I'm like, okay, great. And then I keep walking down the hallway. And I'm like, okay, where's Arendelle? And then I keep walking down the hallway. And then finally we get there. And it was the same thing with the kids club. The kids club was down this long hallway, even though everything is decorated like, oh, the kids club is right here, right around the corner. And you're like, okay, where? So there was a lot of hallways, I felt. It was still very fun, and I still loved it so much. And I would be totally willing to do the Wish again. And I think I would like it even more the second time, knowing what I know about it and being on it, because then I'd be able to navigate it even more. I think half of that was just battling navigation, and trying to just figure out, okay, where do I go? What's next? But I think if I get the opportunity to choose between a couple of ships, I would pick a different ship over the Wish. Or I'd just pick the fantasy again.
Yeah. See, I thought that was a very appropriate analysis, and you shared your opinions, and it's all very valid.
It took me that long to figure that out, though.
I know,
really
you've been dreading this for days.
I have been dreading that question because I just couldn't figure it out. I still don't even know if I'm right.
No, it's not right or wrong. It's an opinion. I think you answered it perfectly. So I know I said that was the last question, but I feel like there's a couple more we could ask here, especially related to your learnings from the Wish. Is there anything, if you were to go on the Disney Wish again, that you would do differently?
Yeah, I would get the stroller on day one.
We talked about that, so that's loud and clear.
Yeah, differently. I think I would try to do more of the adult things on the ship. Like I said, I loved Prima Nota, and having the girls in the nursery or the kids club was great. I think I would really like to try the spa and try maybe a couple of like the mixology classes that they have. Maybe some more of the just fun happenings on the ship that's maybe just adult only. And I feel more confident now having the girls in the nursery or kids club for my next cruise. This was Maggie's first time in the kids club, so I was a little bit nervous for her too. Just because, she sometimes might have a little minor accident and not tell anybody about it. And I didn't want that happening, which it didn't, which was great. Or maybe she wouldn't have fun, which was crazy of me to think, because Maggie absolutely loves Disney and loves running around doing stuff. So for my next cruise, whatever it will be, I'm not going to be as apprehensive about doing the adult stuff. I'm excited for that. I totally trust Disney taking care of, not only just taking care of the kids, but keeping them really happy and entertained and joyful, right? So much to the point where Maggie doesn't want to leave the kids club, and I can just, enjoy some time with my mom and aunt, and I think they would even have more fun, doing stuff with me too.
Yeah.
So I would say that's the one thing I would do differently.
Yeah, I think that's a really great piece of advice. And thinking about your next ship, there's a lot to choose from, especially by the next time you sail. We'll not only have, or we plan to sail at least, not only have the Disney Treasure in the mix, but also the Disney Destiny.
Yeah.
So are you leaning towards one of those, or you also haven't done the Magic or the Dream or the Wonder? So there's always those possibilities too.
We're definitely going to be doing a trip out of Port Canaveral. So that's going to be the Treasure or the Wish, really. It might be the Fantasy, depending upon when we go. I don't know about the Destiny. I feel like the Destiny might be out of Fort Lauderdale. Maybe. I don't, I just know that there's only a few ships down there that are going out of Port Canaveral right now. I don't know. I'm going to kind of leave it up to timing and just see, okay, I really want to sail on like October 1st, for example. So what ships are going out on October 1st, and I'll kind of leave it up to that. And I'm actually going to be working with Kelly this time, which I'm very excited about. So I don't have to worry about waking up at midnight. Kelly's going to be waking up at midnight for me. And I'm just going to tell her what I want and hope for the best. And I'll have a whole bunch of Silver members with me, Silver Castaway Club members, because now we'll get in that window a little bit sooner than just the general public who have never sailed before. So I'm pretty excited about actually working with Kelly next time, and I don't really care which ship it is. Even if it's a Wish again, I'll be like, yes, I can do the Wish again and do it better. Or if it's the Fantasy, I can say, oh, my love, my Fantasy, I'm so happy I get to be on this ship again. Or if it's the Treasure, I'll just say, oh, I can't wait for them to go on the Treasure or the Destiny. Same thing, because they're new and exciting. It'll be... I just know it's going to be wonderful, I don't care what ship it is. As long as it's Disney, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, that was really smart of you to work with Kelly, and I know no matter which ship you pick for next time will be a great choice. I've got Emily here, by the way, in case you hear any cooing in the background. She wants to grab the microphone. And
soon enough, little girl, soon enough.
Soon enough, she'll be behind the mic. Maggie's getting close. And it was great. I mean, I normally would reach out to Kelly even for the fact that we extended by 3 extra days. Yeah, wasn't that great? Yeah, Emily's making a special appearance. Maggie's made small appearances in the background of the show, too. Yeah, so, I mean, I normally would reach out to Kelly to even extend the fact that we extended our trip 3 days, but that was literally last minute, and she's got other clients and families to work with, and I didn't want to skip the queue for that. Yeah. But we had a great time at Saratoga Springs, right, Emily? Yeah, she's giving a little smile. And hi. She's, a side note, she's 7.5 months old now, and this is the point that Maggie first learned to wave. We talked about her waving on It's a Small World at 7.5 months old, and Emily just figured out how to wave a few days ago, so she's right on the same milestone. Yeah. I think this is our sign that we should probably cut this episode here. But Joanna, thanks for sharing all these thoughts about the Disney Wish. I know a lot of families and those listening who are interested in sailing, whether they have kids or not, are interested in what you have to say. So I appreciate you taking the time. And Emily says goodbye as well.
Anytime.
Welcome back to Imagination Central. If you're interested in sailing with Disney Cruise Line, remember that our travel sponsor, KMV Travel, can help you plan personalized vacations and create unforgettable memories on land and at sea. You can learn more, ask questions about your next trip, or book your Disney cruise by heading to kmvtravel.com/skyway. If you haven't done so already, be sure to create a free Imagination Skyway account over at patreon.com/Imagination Skyway. This is your one-stop shop for Imagination Skyway content, podcast episodes, video reviews, chat groups, and lots more surprises. So be sure to create a free account there, or consider signing up for one of our paid subscription options for even more fun. You can even try that for free for seven days before committing to that. If you already have an account and are listening on the Patreon app, be sure to leave your thoughts about today's discussion directly on this episode. Remember, you can also engage with the show, of course, on social media by searching for Imagination Skyway on your favorite app or heading to imaginationskyway.com. As you disembark, please remember to remain fully seated until the podcast comes to a complete stop. Then gather your belongings and watch your head and step as you exit. Thank you so much for riding aboard Imagination Skyway, and remember, if we can dream it, we can do it.